All right, the matchup for the AFC Championship game is set. The Bengals will battle the Chiefs in Kansas City next Sunday. This after Cincinnati knocked off the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park. New York Post sports columnist Mark Cannizzaro, he was in the building for that one, and he joins me now from Buffalo. Mark, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dex. How you doing?
I'm doing good, enjoying the divisional round of the playoffs. We had some really good games here now. Mark, the Bengals, they got the upset victory in Buffalo, and this is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and I feel like everybody expected the Bills and the Chiefs to play for a trip to the Super Bowl this year. So has Cincy been wrongfully, or wrongly, I should say, disrespected and overlooked as a team that can win it all?
Well, it's funny. You just used the word, Dexter, upset. I don't think the Bengals felt like this was an upset today. This was a team that came in here, squawking before the game about, hey, listen, do you remember we were in the Super Bowl last year? We were the runners-up. So, I thought the betting line was weird in this game. I don't know why it was so high, but it just seemed curious to me. I mean, this is a team that was really on the way to potentially dominating the Bills in that January 2nd game when Damar Hamlin got hurt. They were up 7-3 and they were driving in the first quarter. And so they definitely came in here with a chip on their shoulder. There's no question about it. Joe Burrow on his trot up from the field, up the tunnel's kind of an uphill tunnel to the locker room in Buffalo, and he was chirping a little bit about, you got to go get those refunds in reference to the 50,000 Bills fans, or fans, I should say, between the Bills and the Chiefs, who were buying tickets for the neutral site, the potential neutral site AFC Championship game had the Bills won today because of obviously the canceled game from the Damar Hamlin game. So there was a lot of guys that had their noses bent out of shape about that. I know Joe Mixon, the Bengals running back, was adamant about it this week. How it was disrespectful, and he ran like an angry dude today because he got 105 yards and rushed for a touchdown. So these guys kind of came out with an edge. The Bengals, they smacked the Bills in the mouth early and got up 14-0, and Buffalo just didn't have an answer.
They did not have an answer for them on today. And speaking of the Bills, right, Damar Hamlin, he visited his teammates in the locker room before the game, and this was following obviously an emotional month for Buffalo. The Bills, they failed to reach the Super Bowl again. So did the Bills waste a great opportunity to get to the Super Bowl this year?
Well, they feel they did, Dexter. I spoke to a few guys in their locker room afterwards, beginning with Josh Allen. Talked to a couple of their offensive linemen who really said that, they really felt they were a Super Bowl team this year, that this was their year. And you referenced Damar. This was the first game that Damar had been to a game since he was injured in that game against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. He visited his teammates before the game, sat in a luxury suite during the game. They showed him on the Jumbotron right before halftime, and the place went nuts. I just feel like the Bills felt like they had more magic in them before the end of this run was up. And this was pretty stunning to them. There was a very, very somber and quiet locker room. I think I really felt like they were stunned by what happened today, even though they knew Cincinnati's a damn good team. I just feel like they're at home. They had a lot of momentum on their side. I thought that, this was a surprise to them.
Surprise for the Bills. Tough end to their season. Now back to Cincy. We saw Burrow defeat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last postseason. This postseason, he knocked out Josh Allen and the Bills. Where does Burrow rank among the elite QBs in the game?
He has to be right up there. I mean, he's still young, but this is a guy, Cincinnati's beaten Kansas City the last 3 games they've played the Chiefs. So, this is going to be a very, very fascinating game, even though it's at Arrowhead, which is a great atmosphere. It's hostile, loud. But again, so is Buffalo, and that's what the Bengals didn't seem any problems with that. So, listen, I think Joe Burrow is right up there with anybody. He's got moxie. He's a different personality than Josh Allen, who I have huge respect for. He's got a little bit more of a edge to him, I feel like, anyway. Almost a little bit of a Brady edge, where he likes to kind of slip the needle in a little bit, so to speak, as he ran up that tunnel today after the game in the stadium. So, likes to smoke his victory cigars. There was a lot of cigar smoke in that Cincinnati locker room after the game. Guys were puffing away at stogies. Music was cranking. These guys came in here expecting to win this game as much as the Bills came into this game expecting to win themselves at home. So, this was a thorough thumping. I mean, it wasn't as thorough as Philly against the Giants yesterday in the NFC game, but this was a pretty thorough. I mean, Buffalo was on the back foot from the start of this game, and Josh Allen Josh Allen was highly crediting the scheme and not just Josh. A few of the guys talked about Mitch Morse, their center, said they basically came in with a game plan to have our heads on a swivel, and they had us spinning, and we couldn't get out of it. So this was a great job across the board. Burrow obviously orchestrated it. And, Zach Taylor after the game, the Bengals head coach, just said the bigger the moment, the better Joe Burrow gets. And, the moment's going to get bigger next Sunday in Kansas City. Should be a fascinating matchup.
Absolutely. Should be a fascinating matchup with Patrick Mahomes going up against Joe Burrow. Chiefs versus Bengals at Arrowhead. That should be a fun one. Mark, I know you will be somewhere next week at one of the championship games, and we will definitely talk to you then. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tex. Good talking to you.
Always.